What's up, guys? Back with another video. Today again I'm just gonna fly off the dome and try to maybe work out my own thoughts on the subject as I talk to you, because I haven't really thought through exactly what I'm gonna say yet. But yeah, in this video I'm gonna talk about watching explicit information. By explicit information I mean like watching tutorial videos or reading things about your sport or whatever skill you're trying to learn, and maybe talking to people that are better than you about it. And then I'm going to talk about just only practicing. So we're going to have only practicing versus only explicit information. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is if you're going to choose one or the other, I'm always going to argue that only practice is the most important, because I really think like any skill you do, especially if it's something involving your nervous system a lot, like movements of your body, it takes quite a long time for your brain to figure out how to make those connections in your body. Like if you're playing a video game and you want to do like a really fine mechanic, it takes a long time. So I feel like the longest thing that really takes time is developing that kind of skill. And obviously the mental side is very important too. That takes a long time, and you develop that mainly by actual practicing. But there's a trap that people fall into, which is where they only practice and then they don't ever get any explicit information. And the reason this is bad is because when you access explicit information or information from other people that are better than you, you're accessing information from hundreds, thousands of other minds, okay? If you think your own mental cognition is going to overpower like hundreds of other people and thousands of other people and maybe millions of hours of time all put together on whatever subject you're trying to lose, I think that you're really at a fault. If you're going to rely on your own mental cognition to know what's actually best, you probably need to be like one of the best in the world at your sport. Other than that, like 9 times out of 10 somebody else is going to be able to teach you better, or unless you're doing something that's very like new and not well known, like maybe you're learning a completely new video game or something like that. I can't think of too many examples off the top of my head. But again, okay, so that's only practicing also with explicit information. So the best is a mix of both, and I'd argue like 90% of your time doing practice and some of your time learning like that explicit information. You need enough information to keep your mind like moving, chewing on new things, adding new things, getting rid of things. You don't want to set like a ton of bad habits by never like looking at really objective truths about whatever skill you're learning. So again, if you get too stuck in your own mental framework of how something works, then you're going to fall into bad habits, because we all have our cognitive biases and etc. So you need to rely on other people for that as well. But without the actual practice to back that up, like nothing will happen. Which brings me to the other type of people, which are the people that only learn like explicit information but never actually practice. And these people are generally like the worst kind, because first off, if you only learn explicit information, you think you're understanding it, but until you use it in actual practical situations, you don't truly understand it. You just like cognitively think you've understood the situation, but until you make that connection to like your nervous system and you implement it, you don't truly understand it. So a lot of times people with a ton of explicit information, they've looked at a ton of tutorials and they have all kinds of listened to like every single podcast about whatever it is, but they don't actually practice it very much. They'll try to tell you what they should do, but they don't actually know what they're talking about. They just have a ton of information on the subject, but yeah, they have no real world application. And that's why people that only practice and never learn any explicit information usually destroy people with only explicit information. But if you can combine both of those into a cohesive unit, and whenever you need like new information or you're getting stuck on your own practice time and whatever, then you go and seek out that explicit information. That's going to help you like rise to the top of whatever it is you want to do. So yeah, I know this probably was a little confusing, because again, I didn't even take time to like think about how I wanted to say this. I just straight went for it. Again, right now, like I'm practicing my own sort of new skill, which is talking in front of a camera to YouTube. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it and see how it goes. Again, like right now I'm hitting like the practice. This is practice of doing it, but eventually, like if I want to take it more seriously, I'm gonna have to go and like learn some more about it, maybe listen to other people, see what they're doing, like how to, you know, express my opinion more naturally, what kinds of things it might be good to have with me, like how I should structure my notes or whatever. You know, when I'm starting to talk in front of a camera, or if it's good to have notes or not good to have notes. Like, it's good to experiment for yourself, but until you kind of get stuck and you're like, I don't know what I should do, that's when you need to go and get more information. Speaking of that, I need to write that out. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching and see you next time.